columnist Megan Fearon to conclude.
First of all, I just want to start by welcoming the debate today and thanking and acknowledging everyone for participating in what was, for the most part, fairly tempered. And it's actually an honour for me to be able to speak in favour of extending the right of civil marriage to those who are LGBT and T. Today we have the DUP saying that this isn't an equality issue, and I get that the notion of equality might actually go over your heads, because I think we have over 20 unionist men in the chamber today discussing an equality issue. It's absolute nonsense to say that this isn't an equality issue. Equality is an all-or-nothing concept. You can't be a little bit equal to someone else. That is just simply not how it works. So civil partnerships are not enough. Equality is not a concept that we should be striving for either. It's an absolute necessity. And of course, in the overall fight for LGBT equality, I think we should recognise that the issue of marriage is just one of the many battles that need to be fought. In the past few months alone, we've seen the disgraceful squandering of public money in the pursuit of a personal agenda against unmarried and same-sex couples by our very own Minister for Health, who ironically is actually trying to limit how many people can perform the simple life-saving act of giving blood. It's nothing short of shameful that people face discrimination every single day of their lives because of nothing more than their sexual orientation. And Katrina Rand referred to earlier about how the fact that hate crime is on the rise, and we should actually absolutely condemn that, and we shouldn't say anything that I think Michael Copeland referred to earlier, that our voices are going to echo from this chamber, and so we shouldn't perpetuate negative views. Thankfully, the Minister's appeals in relation to family and adoption rights were actually rejected. And the old narrative that a child needs a man and a woman to be raised properly is totally incorrect. I think Paul Given referred to it earlier. It's totally incorrect. All a child needs in reality is a loving home and environment to grow up in. And I think that it's actually insulting to single-parent families everywhere to say that that a child needs a mother and a father to have some sort of wholesome upbringing. And I understand that some people choose to hold very sincere religious beliefs and that they're really important to a lot of people, but they shouldn't be foisted on others, and this absolutely should not impact on the law that affects everyone. I think it's important to note that there are lingering unaddressed inequalities facing those who have undergone gender reassignment. Someone who is married must have a divorce to undergo gender reassignment or have their civil partnership dissolved before they can have a gender reassignment certificate. And I think it's an important point to note, because all too often in these debates on LGBT issues, the transgender community are forgotten. Mervyn Story spoke earlier about his fear of a social revolution and the LGBT agenda, as he put it. I think, maybe you just need to wake up a bit, because there's no revolution. That's just the way the world actually is. And gay people are not looking for any more or any different rights than straight people already have. They just want equality under the law. And for the record, just in case anyone's in any doubt, this has absolutely nothing to do with polygamy. You can't marry more than one person under civil law at present. It's a completely spurious argument. It's a spurious argument.
Order, please. I direct my attention to one particular member who has frequently shouted across the chamber, and I would ask that member not to do it again. Continue.
Name him.
For me, the single most important part of the debate today is the message that we're going to be sending out to young people, particularly young LGBT people who are currently struggling. I mean, the reality is there are people out there who literally would rather not live than be openly who they are because of the intimidation or the discrimination that they would face, and that's just unacceptable. Because they don't conform to the notion of heteronormativity, or they don't stick to distinct gender roles. And to those today who chose to talk about their own particular outdated views, and I'm using moderate language so I don't upset anyone, I wonder if you'd be able to repeat what you've said to the faces of a family who've lost a loved one to suicide because they were gay. It's one thing to go in and do it to a hall full of school children, but the reality is that we're dealing here is real people, real personal struggles and real relationships. And to that end, I wanted to use this opportunity to give as many people as possible a voice inside this chamber. Yesterday, I started a hashtag on Twitter in order to facilitate this. So instead of going over what has been said in here, I want to air some of what's being said out there. So I'm just going to go over some of the tweets that I was sent, and it was all about how I want marriage equality because Leona, because every single person is equal and should not be treated differently because of who they love. Holly Morrison, because I don't think we should have to vote in the first place. Everyone should be able to get married and be happy. Dara Hughes, because civil partnerships are not the same as marriage. LGBT groups deserve equality. Catherine Seeley, question, did we vote on your marriage? Sinead Henry, because the Church did not invent marriage, so why should it define who is fit for it? Ellen, because it's 2014, we're still fighting for LGBT rights. It's time we realise that gender and sexuality are social constructs. Dwayne Vance, because I want to be given the right to marry and consecrate my relationship with my soulmate as straight couples do. Lauren, because people don't choose who they love, but we should choose to respect that. Civil partnerships are not enough. Maeve Burns, because love is love. Religion should have no place in politics. Dara Toner, because I should have the same rights and access to marriage and not be treated as a lesser person than a heterosexual. Andrea Nash, because it's the right thing to do. It's a disgrace in 2014 that discrimination against the LGBT community is still rife. Abigail Foran, because denying marriage to two individuals who love each other is to deny them a fundamental freedom. Mary Ellen Campbell, because everyone should be equal under the law and quite simply it's the right thing to do. Barra O'Murray, because I believe that no one can quantify or judge true love. Louise Riley, because we don't want gay rights, we just want equality, the same laws and the same rights for all. Jess McGowan, because my partner and I will take our life and our business further afield, driving us away, and who else? Aidan Hamill, because it's not a religious issue, it's an equality issue. No one should be denied this basic civil right. Niamh Gallagher, because it's progress and we as a society need to always strive to be better. How can anyone be against love? Willie Quinn, because equality can't be hand-picked, the same way rights shouldn't be. Let people who love together be together. Johnny McGibbon, because there's no almost equal, there's equality or no equality. Indeed, I believe that the battle for LGBT rights is the equivalent of the civil rights movement of my generation, and indeed there is a global momentum building towards LGBT equality, and even Stephen Fry was talking about this debate on social media. It's time that this Assembly got its act together, caught up and made its way into the 21st century, and that doesn't just mean endorsing motions or saying that you support something. We can't stop until we've achieved full legislative equality, extending the same rights, privileges and protections to all. The words diversity and inclusivity should be our cornerstone as we work to build a truly shared future for everyone. I want to encourage everyone today to do the right thing and support this motion. And despite the abuse or use of the petition of concern, we can at least have a moral victory if people choose to vote for the motion and not abstain. Thank you.